Tonight, News Channel 5 investigates special report reveals the Christian Nationalists who want to turn a small Middle Tennessee community into their base of operations, hoping to attract others from around the country. Thanks for joining us. I'm Rory Johnston.
And I'm Hunter Hoagland. They are a group who says they want to go back to an America before the civil rights movement. Their desire is to deport legal immigrants even if they became U.S. citizens decades ago.
And they want to put women back to where they think they belong. Our chief investigative reporter, Phil Williams, has been investigating this effort for 3 months. And Phil, you found that longtime residents didn't even know this was happening.
That is precisely the case. This has very much been developing under the radar. In many ways, the views of some of these people are not so different from the white supremacists we've seen marching down Nashville streets in the past year, although they dress up their ideas with intellectual buzzwords and call it Christian. And they hope that about 90 minutes northeast of Nashville, tiny Jackson County will welcome their controversial ideas of what it means to be an American. For the Christian Nationalists setting their sights on Jackson County, Tennessee, picturesque scenes like this represent what they call Heritage America. It's a notion reflected in the Norman Rockwell images they post on social media of hardworking white people, especially white men.
We're building a town. We're building a community there.
Leading the way are podcasters Andrew Isker, a right-wing pastor from Minnesota, and C.J. Engel, who recently moved to the area from Northern California.
Like all of our heroes were way more racist than we're allowed to be today.
Together, the pair host what they bill as the #1 Christian nationalist podcast in the world.
God made men to rule, period. That's the world God made. If you don't like it, take it up with him.
And here in the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains, Isker and Engel hope to make a new home in a place where most everybody looks like them and thinks like them.
So the question is there room for like-minded Christians and patriots in Tennessee? Yes, there's an imperative for like-minded Christians to gather and fight with us. Like, we need Christian nationalism in one state. Like, that's what we need.
After first announcing a project here along the Cumberland River in southern Kentucky near the small town of Burkesville, the developers behind the plan recently announced their move into Jackson County. Here along the line with Macon County, one of the developers has bought up 500 acres in these rolling Tennessee hills. It's not clear exactly what he intends to do with all this land. But just a few minutes down that same road, just across from the Jackson County High School, a separate business entity has purchased another 100 acres that they are apparently planning to develop. And they've announced that Gainesboro, the Jackson County seat, will be the focus of their efforts to resettle like-minded people from around the country.
From what I can tell, they're Christian nationalists, and I wouldn't hesitate to say white Christian nationalists.
Pastor Kevin Riggs has been sounding the alarm about the rise of Christian nationalism in Middle Tennessee for years, including Gabrielle Hanson's unsuccessful campaign for mayor last year in affluent Franklin, Tennessee. You said it borders on Christian Sharia law.
A Christianized type of Sharia law where everybody, it doesn't matter if you're a Christian, it doesn't matter if you're an atheist, it doesn't matter if you're a Buddhist, it doesn't matter what, you're going to be forced to live by this narrow interpretation of Christian principles.
Having Christian nations on American soil, yep, that's ours too. We'll take it, right? That, like, restoring American identity, right? American, like, heritage American identity, that's good.
As Isker and Engel see it, the only people who have a legitimate right to a homeland here in the U.S. are those so-called heritage Americans, like the ones depicted in those Norman Rockwell images from the past.
I would imagine in most of those Norman Rockwell pictures, there aren't any depictions of people who look like me.
We showed Nashville pastor Chris Williamson some of Isker and Engel's own words, in which Engel says his concept of heritage America affirms the domination and preeminence of European-derived peoples, their institutions, and their way of life, although he adds that his term also includes the blacks of the Old South. According to them, if you are a descendant of slaves, you get to stay.
So they're defining my legacy, my entire legacy, really on slavery. I get to stay, even though I was brought here against my will and treated horribly through chattel slavery for nearly 250 years, but that's my heritage.
Even then, Engel writes that his acceptance of Black Americans is on the condition that they don't try to leverage their experience for the purposes of political guilt.
Because really, you want to keep me in that place of inferior status with you. I'm okay as long as I stay in line and accept how you define me. But these days of white men defining Black people, they're not happening anymore.
I'm not going to debate the meaning of America with those that seek its destruction.
The two Christian nationalists denounced the efforts of civil rights leader Martin Luther King and the civil rights movement in general, with Ingalls saying you cannot have both MLK and Heritage America, and Isker declaring we should turn civil rights back to the states. They celebrate images of whites-only diners in the 50s, with Ingalls proclaiming the 1960s ruined everything, and they mock historical incidents like the kidnapping and lynching of 14-year-old Emmett Till. Yet they dismiss any criticism as people taking them too seriously.
So too are Isker's objections to the Civil Rights Act, his dismissiveness of the Emmett Till murder, and the broader racial views. Yeah. Well, that's funny. That's funny because that whole controversy was like entirely a meme controversy.
I know. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like, come on, man. Like,
yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. You get in trouble for having fun.
You have done nothing but disguised white supremacy in the guise of Christian nationalism. So call it what it is. It's white supremacy. It's not nothing Christian about it.
Earlier this year, Ingalls, to mark the beginning of Black History Month, responded with his own celebration of Heritage History Month, holding up white supremacist thinker Sam Francis for praise. Among his writings, Francis suggested that if whites wanted to do so, they could dictate a solution to the racial problem tomorrow by imposing fertility controls on non-whites.
It's repulsive that people would think of me and people who look like me in such degrading ways.
And yet they claim to be Christian nationalists.
Key word is claim.
You know, part of this is coming out of fear because we're moving closer and closer to that day where the white European Christian is the minority or the new minority when you add up all the other minorities. So they're losing power and they're trying to stop that as well.
In fact, their rhetoric...
They do hate us. They hate white Christian men, period. End of story.
...is reminiscent of this scene.
They hate white men!
Where neo-Nazis took to the streets of Nashville earlier this year.
If you strip it all down, they're saying the same thing. They're just saying it in a way that may be more acceptable to people. But at the end of the day, it's the same tired ideology of white supremacy.
As Isker and Ingalls see it, this endeavor isn't just about moving to a place where the people look and think like them. They also imagine creating a political force that has an impact on communities like Gainsborough, eventually extending their reach statewide.
If you have towns like ours that we're going to be building, right, where there are a lot of people that are very politically motivated and very well organized, right, you can have as much influence as one of the big cities in Tennessee.
Hello and welcome to Contra Modem. It is election night. It's the big night. Welcome, everyone.
And on election night, the pair hosted a nearly 9-hour podcast from Gainsborough.
Oh, there he is.
No, he's on.
He's on. He's live.
There I am. Hey.
Hello.
Bringing in some of the biggest names from the Christian nationalist community.
This is Charles's moment. Charles, welcome to the 2024 election.
With one suggesting that Donald Trump's strong showing.
I mean, if he does that, then, Red Caesar, mandate from heaven, rock and roll, let's go.
Might clear the way for the authoritarian Red Caesar they hope will rise.
I don't want to be a gloom and doom type person. My hope is still in Christ. But what I see on a practical level scares me if this kind of thing just keeps growing and takes root in our country.
As for what these Christian nationalists hope to plant here amid the beauty of rural Middle Tennessee, these pastors say what they see is not American, nor is it Christian.
So when I hear people talk about Jesus and their Jesus does not invite people to the table of grace, when their Jesus excludes people, they're not preaching the gospel of Jesus. That's something else. I don't recognize that. And I don't want that kind of Jesus leading our nation.
And that's not all. Among their other controversial views, they say they, quote, hate democracy. They're rooting for a Protestant dictator, and they think God made men to rule over women, that men are supposed to teach their women what to think, that it was a mistake to let women vote. And among the worst influences on America today, in their words, are college-educated white women.
Wow. I know you tried to get the two of them to sit down with you, get their side on camera, but it appears they weren't interested.
No, not at all. Both of them responded with defiant statements, essentially saying that Donald Trump's election shows that the media doesn't matter anymore. C.J. Ingalls says his views are motivated by his understanding of American history and what he calls his love of country. We've got their full statements at NewsChannel 5. Let people look at them and decide for themselves.
Perhaps his misunderstanding, we should say. We know you'll be watching them.
Absolutely. I think there's more to come.
Yeah.